Hello, everybody. My name is Sam Higgs. I am the sports editor for the Alexander City Outlook. I'm going to be honest. I am scared to talk loud because I am by myself for another iteration of Inside the Lines. But I have a good feeling that, once this gets going a little bit, I'll be talking a little bit louder. But I am here at the Benjamin Russell Chelsea game. Benjamin Russell currently holds a 4-4 record, and they're going against a 6-2 Chelsea team. I actually don't have a choice but to speak up because now it seems like the music is getting louder now that I wanted to start the live show. But again, I'm here at the Benjamin Russell Chelsea game. For those who are a little unaware, Benjamin Russell was able to clinch a spot in the playoffs last week with a win over Pelham, but don't think job's done yet. What's at stake for the Wildcats in this matchup against Chelsea is the chance to improve themselves from the 4 seed to the 3 seed. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows, there is a major difference between heading into a tournament going in as the 4th seed compared to a 3 seed. So that's what's at stake right now for the Wildcats. Both of these teams have suffered the same losses against Spain Park and Helena, but they also have some of the same wins as far as a Calera and Chilton County. So, this game has some significance behind it. And I think, especially coming off the bye week, getting that win against Pelham, being able to finally take a game on the road, I think is extremely important for the Benjamin Russell Wildcats. I think, they're starting to gain some momentum. They're starting to really put things together. And I don't think there's a better time to get hot than especially late in the season. I spoke with Smitty Grider earlier in the week because this was the game of the week for the Alexander City Outlook. So if you don't have a subscription, I highly recommend you guys get one so you can read about those games of the week. But I talked to Coach Grider. He stressed the significance of the playoff seeding as far as this game goes. But another thing I wanted to ask him about was just what their game plan was offensively. And last week, against Pelham, we saw that it was a steady case of TJ Wilson. TJ Wilson, I want to say, had maybe close to 30, if not 30 touches in the game. I mean, looking at the stat sheet right now, he had 26 carries last week to go along with 2 more catches. He totaled over 160 yards, if I remember correctly. He was the fan choice player of the week this week. And so I imagine that's not going to slow down whatsoever. TJ Wilson, I asked Coach Grider about it this week, especially because he said it after the Pelham game. He said TJ Wilson is back 100%, and that works wonders for the offense. Because, you got to think about how important it is to stress your run game to then get things open in the passing game. We already know what Elijah Johnson and Zadarian Morgan bring to the table. I would argue to say that that's maybe one of, if not the best connections in the state of Alabama. Purely because Zadarian Morgan and Elijah Johnson are just both dogs within their own part. But I'm really interested to see what TJ Wilson does in this game. Like I mentioned earlier, Chelsea is 6-2. This team started off the season 6-0, fell the past 2 weeks. You have to figure that morale might be a little low for Chelsea, but you also got to think that this could be a chance for them to, kick things back into gear, as well as for them to lock up the 3 seed in the playoffs. So, both teams have something to play for. And, I already mentioned Benjamin Russell's running back. I already mentioned TJ Wilson and what he brings to the table. But in my conversation with Coach Grider, he made sure to let me know that, Chelsea offensively is a lot different than what they experienced at Pelham. Pelham was a team that wanted to prioritize the passing game. They wanted to get things done through the air. But now they're kind of meeting the inverse of that. Chelsea likes to run the ball. That's what Chelsea's bread and butter is. And, I was looking through to see what I could find stat-wise for Chelsea, especially with Coach Grider telling me about the running back situation. And I came across Chelsea's running back, Chase Straisner. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. But almost every article that I read that spoke about Chase Straisner, it seemed like he was at 200 total yards or approaching 200 total yards a game. You know, it says in this game against Chilton County, he had 187 total yards, both receiving and rushing. So that's going to be a guy that I have my eye on. We already know that Benjamin Russell is very stout at the front. I mean, I could go on and on about what Bradley Pulliam and Caleb Spivey both mean to this team, as well as their interior guys and their linebackers, and Micah Murphy and Noah Long. I mean, their front is solid. So we know that if they're going to be, if Chelsea is going to be trying to run the ball inside between the tackles, that the front's going to be able to take care of that. The one thing that I'm interested to see is, especially on those outside running plays, how the defensive backs fit into that. Because I think once you shut down Chelsea's running game, I don't know how much they can really lean on their passer. I mean, I was looking through the stats, and it's not as though their quarterback is terrible. I mean, obviously you're not 6-2 with a bad quarterback. In this game against Chilton County, he went 15 for 24, 187 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. So the big thing is, I think if you shut down the running game, you'll be able to shut down their quarterback. It's almost like two parallels in the situation. If Chelsea is able to shut down TJ Wilson, how is Benjamin Russell's offense going to counteract that? And the same thing can be said for Chelsea. From what I've been able to gather about Chelsea's team is, you know, they're solid defensively. On the year, they've only let up 165 points. They've only let up over 30 points only a handful of times. I mean, Pelham, they let up 33 points. Benjamin Russell was able to hold Pelham to nothing. Against Calera, they let up 28 points. Benjamin Russell, I think, held them to 21. But they let up 31 points against Spain Park, only put up 3. And then against Helena, they let up 38 points and put up 28 on the board. So, I mean, this is going to be an interesting game. I'm excited for it. I think that there's a little bit of juice behind Benjamin Russell to make sure that they can, you know, make that playoff put, or make some noise in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know if they really want to go against a 1 seed. I mean, it's going to be difficult. Whatever 1 seed they're matched up with, I can't remember exactly what it's looking like right now, but I mean, a 1 seed on enemy territory is going to be rough. I expect Benjamin Russell to come out here and make some real noise for this game. But I think we're going to go take a little quick commercial break. Before I do that, I just want to say thank you to our sponsor, Dunning Roofing. I feel like I mentioned this every live stream. If you experienced any damage during the microburst that happened a while ago, maybe even the hurricanes that went by, or anything that you might need roofing-wise, make sure you get in contact with Dunning Roofing. They'll be able to help you with all your roofing needs. But other than that, I think we're going to take a quick little commercial break, and I'll be back to talk about some of the other games we got on our slate. All right, I'll catch you guys in a second.
Hi, my name is Andrew McGreer. I'm the owner of Dunning Roofing. We serve an area from Birmingham to Montgomery to Auburn to Opelika and all the surrounding Lake Martin area. Well, we've been in business for 25 years almost, and we've been growing every year since then. Recently, we won an award by GAF, who's the largest manufacturer of shingles in the world, and we've achieved a Master Elite status. That Master Elite status is critical, not only for us as a company. Only 2% of roofers worldwide ever achieve this designation. We got it because we're exceptional. We look forward to helping you.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
See, I forgot to make the switch to me, and I started talking while the mic was muted. But either way, my name is Samuel Higgs. I am the sports editor for the Alexander City Outlook. I am here at the Benjamin Russell-Chelsea game. Now I really have to start speaking loud because the band, again, it's whenever I want to start talking, that's when the music gets turned up and the band starts to show up. But we spent the first 10 minutes talking about the Benjamin Russell-Chelsea game, the playoff implications for that one. I mean, it seems like almost every single matchup that I'm going to be talking about tonight is going to have some possible playoff implications into account. And the next game that I wanted to talk about is the Stanhope-Elmore-Wetumpka game. This one, awesome. This one will pretty much, if Wetumpka is to beat Stanhope, this will lock Wetumpka in the playoffs. And barring some results, Stanhope will be from the outside looking in. But this is going to be an interesting game. I mean, from what I've been able to gather, these teams are rivals. They're not separated by too much. But it's going to be an interesting game because here's one thing that we need to talk about. Arthur McQueen. Stanhope's Arthur McQueen is not only one of the best running backs, he might be the best running back in all of 6A. I don't think that's an understatement to make. The dude is averaging over 200 rushing yards a game. Stanhope as a whole is averaging 300 rushing yards a game. Arthur McQueen, a couple weeks ago was just, he was in the top 10. Now he's in the top 5 as far as rushing yards go. I mean, I just feel against Rehoboth, let's see what he had against Rehoboth. Rehoboth, he had, my bad. Against Rehoboth, he set a school record rushing for 420 yards and 5 touchdowns. My bad for forgetting that for a little bit. But 420 yards and 5 touchdowns, that's absolutely ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. He was averaging 20 yards per carry, had a long of 85 yards. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. That is Madden rookie numbers. Like, if you're playing Madden, put that thing on rookie setting, that is what the kind of numbers that he put up last week. But here's the thing. I'm not saying that he's going to go for 420 yards against Wetumpka. The thing about Wetumpka, and especially, my conversations with Coach Bear Woods, he prides himself on his defense. And I mean, that should come as no shocker considering the guy played linebacker at an extremely high level. So obviously he's going to take pride in his defense. And I mean, the proof is in the puddings. If you look at all of the games that they have, played this year, they have only let up 20 points twice this season. And that was against Russell County, and that was also against Percy Julian. That is pretty dominant, if you ask me. And the other thing about Wetumpka is they have been able to string together 4 straight wins. Granted, all four of them have all been at home. So, they obviously get that advantage. I remember the Eufaula game was supposed to be held in Eufaula, but because of the weather, they had to move it to Wetumpka. But just looking at the team right now, they haven't won on the road yet. Granted, it's only been 2 games, and I mean, looking at those away games, it was against Chelsea, who's the team we're about to watch go down tonight, and then the other team is Pike Road that leads their entire region and has not lost a region game this yet. So obviously, those 2 away games were against some really good opponents, but they have yet to win on the road. And so I feel like that's going to be one challenge that Coach Bear Woods is going to try to overcome. I mean, we were just talking about it not too long ago as far as Benjamin Russell being winless on the road. Now we're looking at Wetumpka, who's also winless on the road, and they end their season with 2 road games. If they want to lock down a spot in the playoffs, tonight will be the night. But Stanhope-Elmore is really not going to make that easy. I feel like I started talking about it, but I never finished it. Wetumpka, in their 4-game stretch, has been able to figure out things on the offensive side of the ball. Against Park Crossing was probably their best offensive day they've had this entire season, and that's obvious whenever they put up 42 points on the board. I mean, Justin Godwin, he threw a touchdown. Tyler Johnson threw a touchdown. Justin Godwin also added 2 more touchdowns in the rushing department. And then you're just looking at it, Jimmy King, who's been a reliable running back for them this entire year. He crossed 100 yards. Martez Wright is continuing his streak. He had 3 catches for 78 yards. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this whenever I was talking about the defense. Can we talk about Ethan Bailey for a second? Ethan Bailey is playing as one of the best defensive linemen in the state. Right now, I want to say I know he's top 5 in sacks in the entire state, but I'm trying to, let me pull up the exact number for you as far as sacks that he has on the season. 16. The guy is averaging 2 sacks a game. So that's absolutely ridiculous. 16 sacks a year this season is pretty outstanding. So yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. Stanhope is going to have their hands full trying to stop him, but then you also got to think of Kelby Walker. Kelby Walker is another guy who is approaching those double digits. He's averaging a sack a game. He has 8 this year. But so it's going to be really interesting. I think the main thing that I'm focused on is Wetumpka's defense matching up with Stanhope's rushing attack. I mean, it's going to be really exciting football to watch. I think it's going to be some pretty smash-mouth football, just knowing the level that they want to feed a guy like Arthur McQueen. So it's going to be, I'm excited to see how this game unfolds. I'm interested to see if Stanhope wins, then that makes their chances of making the playoffs that much more interesting. And the same thing goes for Wetumpka. There's a lot at stake for this game, and I think the big thing that we're going to find out is who wants it more. What side is going to try to make that playoff push? I mean, I'll pull up the region right now because this is another region game. Right now, Pike Road leads their region at 6-0. Russell County leads at 4-2. Wetumpka has a 3-2 record. Stanhope has a 2-3 record. So, I mean, just looking at it, it's very complicated because there's so much that goes into it. But if Stanhope wins and Percy Julian wins, then it's going to be a 3-way tie. The tiebreakers they're complicated. Me and Lizzie were trying to figure that out this morning, and it's definitely interesting to say the least. But I mean, again, this is going to be an interesting game. I'm a little jealous that I'm not there, but I'm obviously at another really fantastic game. But I think we're going to go take another little commercial break. If you guys are planning on coming to the Chelsea Benjamin Russell game, you got about 40 minutes to do so. Again, most of these games that I'm going to be talking about have some major playoff implications. So if you're ready for some exciting football, I recommend you get out to some of the games in your area. But other than that, I'm going to take a quick little commercial break, and I'll be back to talk about some of the other games we got on our schedule.
Hi, my name is Andrew McGreer. I'm the owner of Dunning Roofing. We serve an area from Birmingham to Montgomery to Auburn to Opelika and all the surrounding Lake Martin area. Well, we've been in business for 25 years almost, and we've been growing every year since then. Recently, we won an award by GAF, who's the largest manufacturer of shingles in the world, and we've achieved a Master Elite status. That Master Elite status is critical, not only for us as a company. Only 2% of roofers worldwide ever achieve this designation. We got it because we're exceptional. We look forward to helping you.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous.
here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Hi, my name is Andrew McGree.
My bad on that one, guys. That's my apologies. But we got another interesting slate of games this week. The first game that I want to talk about is the Tallahassee-Talladega game, because, I mean, the biggest thing that I want to address in that game is the turnaround that Lawrence L.A. O'Neal has been able to have on a program like Tallahassee. I mean, last year they went 1-9. They had no chances of making the playoffs. Now, when I look at the 4A Region 3, Tallahassee is the lead. Tallahassee is with what it looks like right now, Tallahassee is going to head into the playoffs as a 1 seed. As a 1 seed. Last year they were 1-9. So I mean, there is L.A. O'Neal deserves so much praise for what he's been able to do, but we also got to talk about just their team in general. Defensively, it seems like every time I either read the story or talk to Coach L.A. O'Neal himself, it seems like they've either forced a couple turnovers or scored a defensive touchdown. Every time I read a story, Trent Morris is playing out of his mind. Jordan King is playing out of his mind, and Tiny Green is playing out of his mind. I mean, this Tallahassee team with L.A. O'Neal at the helms, like, it is awesome. Like, it is awesome. I had the chance to go see Tallahassee play a couple weeks ago, and I just have nothing but great things to say about that Tallahassee team and just what they've been able to do in just a year's time. So, I mean, we could talk about the playoff implications. The playoff implications are they're going in as a 1 or 2 seed with just the way things are going to go. They're going against Talladega tonight. Talladega's at the bottom of their region. Talladega is 2-7 on the year. Talladega is 1-6 in the region. So if Talladega is able to come out and win this game, it'd be a major upset. But I mean, it doesn't seem. And the other thing now we got to start talking about is this is Talladega at home for Tallahassee. So I really don't see them losing that game, and I see them essentially locking that number 1 seed because they have Hopeville to end the year. And, you know, that's not a region games. Obviously, they're going to want to win out. But, I mean, I don't see Tallahassee losing their number 1 seed in the playoffs. Another game that I want to talk about, is Childersburg at Dadeville. When we were talking about Dadeville earlier in the season, things weren't looking great. And I think that's just probably the nicest way to put it. They hadn't won a game yet. And the thing that has been honestly the most impressive about the entire process is, okay, they go out and beat Lee Scott. Then, you know, obviously it's a little difficult to go against the team that's number 1 in your region in Glenwood that is still undefeated. But, I mean, let's just look at the Dadeville region right now because, all right, Glenwood locked a spot. That's almost guaranteed. Randolph County, barring some results, pretty much locks themselves as the 2 seed. And then Beulah is also a team that looks like they're essentially going to lock themselves in the playoff spot. But then we get to such a weird ground. Okay, Dadeville is currently 4th right now in the region because they got to win over Lee Scott. They got to win over BB Comer. So there is a legitimate chance that Dadeville makes the playoffs this year. And that's not something that I was thinking whenever I saw them start 0-6. Or was it 0-5? 0-5, yeah. That was not something that I was expecting. But I mean, Dadeville's going to try to go out tonight. And I think one of the most important things is I don't think they're going to be able to overcome Beulah. I don't think they're going to be able to overcome Randolph County as far as seeding goes, just because Randolph County and Beulah both have wins over Dadeville. So I don't think that really plays too big of a factor. But I would say the most important thing for Dadeville this week is, last week they were able to put up 28 points. I want to say that might be the most points that they've put up all season. Let me scroll through real quick. It's the most points they put up all year. The second most was against Hanley, where they put up 21 points. Last week they finally kind of figured out what they needed to do offensively, and if they're able to put up some significant points on Childersburg, I don't see why they couldn't end the season going in as the 4 seed in the playoffs. I mean, to look at the ending of their schedule. So Childersburg is their last region opponent, and then they travel to Valley on Halloween. Again, even if they lose that game but beat Childersburg, they could have a spot in the playoffs, which is just super exciting for them. Another one, I was at Hopeville last week, and whenever I talked to Coach Corey Lee, he let me know that this week is a must-win situation if they want to sneak into the playoffs. I believe if they win, they'll be able to sneak in as the 4 seed. Obviously, there's some things that could go down that could change that. Elmer County also punched their tickets to the playoffs. They're going against Sylacauga. Sylacauga's sitting at 4-4 on the year. Even though Elmer County is on the road, unless Sylacauga just comes out completely different than they have been all year, I don't see Elmer County falling in this game. So I think that improves Elmer County's chances. I can't remember exactly where it lays out as far as the standings go, but from their win last week, they locked their spot in the playoffs. So I think it really depends on whether or not they can maybe move up to the 2 seed or stay at the 3 seed. Another team that's locked their chances is Reeltown. They're taking on Central Coosa. Reeltown's already locked their spot up. They're already going to go in as the 1 seed. They're going to be hosting a playoff game, so that's going to be another exciting one. Another team that has clinched a playoff spot, Horseshoe Bend. Horseshoe Bend, for the first time since 2016, will be going to the playoffs. And, I mean, from what it looks like right now, I believe they'll go in as the 4 seed. No, I think they're going in as the 3 seed. Yeah, no, they've locked the 3 seed. Reeltown and Lochapoka are both above them as far as the playoff seedings go. And then we got Horseshoe Bend coming in at 3rd. Another team that, is looking to make a playoff push is Southern Prep. They've been on an absolute tear as of recent. Corday Williams has been an absolute dog. I think I said this last week. Every time I call Coach Bell or even look at the stats from the game, Corday he's averaging 5 touchdowns a game since they've basically made him the full-fledged starter. They have Stewart County today at home. I don't see their offense slowing down. I see them improving and getting another win before the end of the season. So that's another exciting one. And then as far as the teams that don't look like they have a chance of making the playoffs, Central Coosa is going against Reeltown. I think it's pretty much locked that they can't make the playoffs right now. And then the other one is Edgewood Academy. I don't believe they were able to get a win in region play, and they're done with region opponents after this. So unfortunately, Edgewood is not making the playoffs. Oh, it's getting quiet. I feel like something's about to happen, and I feel like I should stop talking. But, that looks like it's been all the time you guys need me for Inside the Lines. Just want to say thank you to Dunning Roofing for being a sponsor of Inside the Lines. I'm Samuel Higgs. I've been the sports editor. I am the sports editor of the Alexander City Outlook. Hopefully next week you get somebody else with me. because I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of hearing me yapping. But thank you for tuning in, and be sure to get a subscription with the Alexander City Outlook, as well as join us for Inside the Lines every Friday. Other than that, thank you guys, and have a good night.